Live.
We're going live. Yeah, we're live. We're live, pal.
We're live?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, now do a fucking intro. Go ahead.
Me? I wasn't
Yeah.
prepared for this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to what are we doing? Are we celebrating
Are we
the
celebrating?
conviction
Are white
of
people
Jussie?
Can white people celebrate today?
Is it a white people thing or is it just
I think it should be a
a fuck
national holiday for white people.
a fuck the commies thing?
Fuck Juicy Day.
Fuck Jussie.
Yo, I bet Dave Chappelle's feeling good.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. I think he feels very vindicated. Like his comedy is essentially so good that it shifted political opinions in the middle and left wing of the country.
I don't want to give him that credit.
I'll give him.
I think a lot of people saw the how ridiculous his story was.
Yeah, but he actually, the way he told Jussie's story, Juicie's story, made it so insane. It reminded me of Jon Stewart, on the lab leak thing with the Wuhan lab link when he went on what's his name show. He went on one of the shows, the late night shows.
Oh, and he went off about how it was created in a lab. Bill Maher, wasn't it?
No, well, Bill Maher came along but the thing is, what I'm saying is they're making these things so silly because that's where the comedy is now. The comedy isn't like going after Trump. It's the silliness of the Democrat Party right now. The way they're just taking on these causes, like a single, Chinese troll, from the communist China could basically spark a riot in an American city based on a false report, like a hoax, based on a racial hoax.
Mm.
And we saw that happen earlier. And now this case kind of opens up how ridiculous it is to have these gut reactions and these hot-headed reactions where I heard something.
Knee-jerk reactions.
Knee-jerk reactions, right. Thank you, Crishaun. These knee-jerk reactions
I'm here for.
To these cases that where you don't know what happened, you don't know the evidence, all you know is someone saying something. Someone told you something. And when I say someone, I even mean like the news media. Someone in the news told you something.
Well, the media, they have their own like complicity in this is where they're almost like crack addicts. When they see a story, they just can't keep their hands off of, you know what I mean? Like, so they saw something that they thought they could run with and they thought it was going to stick. They're not smart. See, the media is not smart enough. Like we give them more credit than they deserve. They're not smart enough to where they have their finger on the pulse and they know what people actually are paying attention to.
It's not that they're not smart. They're just devious and they're not concerned with issues that people care about. Like we saw with inflation, where they're just not covering it until late summer and early fall. They're just not concerned about it. They would rather focus their entire programming on attack Trump and white guy shoots busload of black kids. That would be the greatest story they could ever tell at this. That's what they want. They want some white guy to go and shoot up a black school bus or burn a black church.
This is exactly what they want, David. Is whenever they make up a story, that's what they want the truth to be.
Right.
That's what they wish reality was.
And you can watch on CNN when there's a shooting and everyone's waiting to see who did it. Was it a white guy, black guy, some guy? It's just crazy. They get so bummed out when they hear it's, not a white guy. And then they have wall-to-wall coverage and then they just stop it completely.
Yeah, cover it up.
Like this Jussie Smollett story, I haven't seen that much in liberal media about it until the past couple of weeks. I really have not seen them go into it And the reason is because their friends are like Jussie Smollett's friends are in the media. Don Lemon, who people are saying, well, hey, CNN should fire him. Like,
no, this is my theory is the fix is already in. It's you read a headline earlier where it was like you could tell in the writing that it was very soft. It was a softball headline.
CNN's headline was Jussie found guilty on some charges. 5 out of 6 is not some charges.
Right.
5 out of 6, it like some you got and some charges.
And
like,
it's the most prevalent charges, right? It's like the most important charge, like meaning the highest ones, right?
They're both equally. I mean, there are a bunch of disorderly conduct charges. I mean, he wasn't found guilty for the what's it called? Shoot. I had it right here.
Jesus Christ. Get it together over there. See what I got to deal with. Smollett
was found guilty on 5 out of 6 counts of disorderly conduct. Then the next one is Smollett was found not guilty about lying about aggravated battery. That charge was because his attackers were wearing masks. So the jury was kind of stupid in that they fell for that one. Like he did lie about an aggravated battery. He hired these guys to batter him. He's a battered.
They gave him the highest form of like reasonable doubt.
I mean, but obviously 5 out of 6, it is still good enough to, land him in prison. But do I think that the judge will set those type?
Dude, he's not getting he's getting the lightest sentence possible. There's no way he's getting a harsh charge. I'm telling you, the
community service.
Yeah. Black gay guy, come on, please.
Right.
Not putting him in jail for that long.
We want you to do community service activist work, like
right.
Like it's his dream.
It's basically go talk at some schools about being bullied for being gay.
Right. If he really wants to build that credibility of an activist, he should want to go to jail, prison. Yeah, prison.
Yeah, you're right.
At least a year.
Nelson Mandela, that shit.
Right. Hitler, that shit, man.
Oh, he brings up the H word.
Yep. It's like every Democrat wants to put Trump in prison, so he can't run for president again. But history has told us that that's a bad idea.
Yeah, it makes
Hitler,
a martyr
Mandela, like as others. I mean, that's been known to be a bad idea, but it was known among kings. Like you don't make someone a martyr.
Hey, they did it to Jesus. They did it to Jesus, David.
Who did it? Who did it? The Jews?
Use
the
people.
Use
guys. Listen, I'm telling you, Jussie Smollett, and let's say he gets like a year community service or some shit. He's gonna come back and he's gonna be in good graces with the left still. They're gonna push him back into the limelight. He's gonna be an activist.
A community organizer.
Community organizer.
Community organizer.
Yes.
And I bet he's just his inbox is flooded with offers.
Of course.
Because he took one for the team. Even though he looked really dumb, he made the team look really dumb. They don't think that they look dumb. Like Democrats don't think that they look really stupid for buying into the Jussie Smollett thing and then trying to sell it and then defending media organizations for not covering it, not wanting to cover it, and trying to manipulate the story. Like they think that they think that it looks good. Not all Democrats. I'd say most don't. I'd say vast majority don't, but some do. And as Republicans, I mean, that's what you want, right? Like you want these people, these organizations, media organizations, these part of a corporate conglomerate to look really stupid because then no one trusts their information. And that's what happened with CNN. They had no viewers. I mean, I saw one guy while I was
You think
walking
they
my
care
dog. I saw
about
one
that?
guy watching CNN in his bedroom, like a little creepy that I did that. But I was walking the dog. I was looking for something to watch, and I saw it. He looked so lonely. He looked sad. Like it's sad at this point. Who watches CNN? Like nobody. Like not with people.
You just saw it in like
I
illuminating
just
in the
no.
in
It's
the
like I
window.
walk my dog. I can see inside his house, his TV. He's got a big screen, and it's like a living room, and I can see sometimes he's watching like a football or basketball game that I'm watching while I'm walking the dog, and I just peer in. I look at the score. Like it's very handy.
Hmm.
It's very creepy. But it's like it's handy.
Are the bushes in front of his house really soft when you lay in
Yeah,
there?
I actually told him one time that's what I did as he walking out there. Yo, I like the TV. Like sometimes I watch your TV when I walk the dog. So
Oh, you told. Okay, you made it. Yeah.
yeah, I made it even more creepy.
So then you went up to. You said, so if you're into that sort of thing, just let me know.
So if you're into voyeurism, I got you.
I'm watching you, just so you know.
I've got your back.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling that they don't care about any of that. I don't think they care about
Yeah, but they
ratings
like
or views anymore. I think as
no.
long as people are leaving them and not going somewhere else, they're happy. They're happy with that. They're happy with stupid people.
They're happy with stupid people.
Yeah. They're happy with people that don't pay attention to politics.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
So
they
they
want.
stress people the fuck out enough where they go, you know what? I'm not even watching the news anymore. And then they just go on about their day, not watching the news, not watching any news. I think that's the thing is where we got to be careful and not just assuming people are going, fuck CNN. I'm going to go to independent media because that's not necessarily what's happening. It's definitely happening, but maybe not on
No,
a scale that we think it is.
they've tried to get out of CNN, and they've some of them have walked to MSNBC. I think some have come to Fox.
You think?
I believe some have moved over to Fox because I'm looking at the key demographic, and Fox News is now double both MSNBC and CNN. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but
That's Tucker, I
it's
believe, right?
Tucker not like Tucker's a
Tucker's the fucking
whole other
man.
animal. Tucker just broke, like he owns Fox News at this point. Greg Gutfeld too has like 2 shows now, just as comic relief. I mean,
Well, he's calling himself the king of late night now.
he is the
He's
king of
getting
late
more.
night. He's got
Yeah, he's
2
getting more
million
ratings
viewers.
than all of them, than Kimmel and Fallon and all those guys.
Who wants to watch Kimmel cry about Jussie Smollett going to prison? He like that guy. That's the kind of guy who was probably like, oh, I don't want to talk about this because this is bad for my team. I don't even want to make fun of it. It is the funniest story on the planet.
Yeah.
A man came home late from a flight, and some 2 guys with MAGA hats in Chicago were waiting for him in a polar vortex for multiple hours, just so they can
Freezing their
get
dicks off.
Jussie Smollett, and they didn't even get him when he got out of his home. They waited for him to come back from Subway to attack,
We want
not
him to
knowing
be
if he
nourished
would
for
come
the hate
back.
crime. Right.
He's got to
Exactly.
be nourished for the that was part of the payment. He would hand them the Subway because they were hungry,
And then they throw a noose around his neck and bleach on him and say
these
this
guys,
is MAGA country.
And these guys are like Somali pirates. They're like they have that deep black voice, like like when they talk that they're not white people. I think you do the voice well. It's like, have you done an impression?
No. What?
I am. This is MAGA country.
This is MAGA country, my friend.
Now we bleach. We'll
Now
make
we
you
bleach
white
your
like
skin.
Michael Jackson.
How about we bleach your skin, my friend?
Let's bleach you.
Try to make you more white.
You will walk the earth a white man. A white ghost.
I would have believed it more if it would have been if he would have made it a crime based on his gayness. He would have probably been able to get away with that easier.
Yeah, I think so, but I would have believed it more if he hadn't used the line like that. If he hadn't said that the perpetrators like said this is MAGA country, like white people ain't doing that after a hate crime. Come on.
And
White
another
people
thing,
ain't doing that. Like, give white people a little credit. If I were to commit a hate crime, I would not like try to represent the group that I'm with.
like, let me
Like,
identify. Yeah.
like, why would I give the police any like way of finding me in Chicago where it's like 80% Democrat and I'm
I was
wearing a
just about
MAGA
to say,
hat? Like,
and this is MAGA country in Chicago.
like, even beard necks are smarter than that. Neck beards, like those neck beard like even them, like they're not that dumb. I mean,
they're not wasting their time doing that.
Yeah, they got.
Stop.
Yeah, they're not wasting the time. I don't think they'd see it as a waste of time, but they would be like, "That's not a good. That wouldn't give us value." Even the most piece of shit Republicans out there would be like, "That would not provide any value to the cause." Whereas with the whole BLM and Antifa thing, riots, that provided a benefit because it was during Trump's administration and yeah.
Then you add this, right? This is around the time that I don't know if it's exactly, but there's like that time there was so much rioting and stuff going on.
Yeah.
There's Trump supporters who were literally getting killed for being Trump supporters, and it's like you think people were like walking around Chicago with MAGA hats on openly.
There were literally BLM supporters being killed because they're BLM supporters by BLM supporters. I mean, and Antifa, like the whole Rittenhouse thing, where it's just a bunch of insane people, pedophiles, criminals, all of that.
And that's why I tell you, I don't think they give a fuck about Jussie Smollett doing this thing. They're still saying, some of them, that Kyle Rittenhouse, the whole cross state lines, he was a white supremacist trying to kill black. They're still pushing that narrative. So after this whole thing, I guarantee you they're still going to try to throw in some kind of thing of like, well, he was found not guilty on one charge, so it still adds a little.
Yeah, like CNN, he was found guilty on some charges.
Right. They're still going to push this story that it happened. I'm telling you, it's still going to be a thing.
I hope they keep pushing that story. I hope. Why not?
Hilarious.
Let them push that story as long as they want. I will enjoy it immensely.
I'm just basing it off of history. There's so many stories that we know of, like, that were blown out of proportion. What's the fucking Al Sharpton one that he did? Tawana Brawley, sorry.
Yeah.
Tamir Rice was a different thing, but yeah, it's just there's like so many stories that are pushed this way that are now looked at as fact. Give it time. Maybe the only thing that kills it now is meme culture, because meme culture really destroys narratives if it wants to, or it creates narratives. But Jussie Smollett is a meme now. That crying meme.
Is it?
Yeah. I see it connected to things. When you know it's a meme when it's connected to things that have nothing to do with it.
Sure. Sorry, I was just interacting with one person.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Nepotism. Hey, that's discrimination, bro.
Why? Because I singled him out?
You gotta react to everybody, bro.
No, I don't.
Who are you reacting to?
Just someone in on Citizen.
What the fuck is that? What is Citizen?
Citizen Free Press.
Oh, Citizen Free Press. Okay.
Oh,
I thought you meant in our live here. Let me just shout out some people real quick. We have Milkman C, DJ Kenny Rec, and Alex Coquito. Judith Skinner. No, that's spam. Fuck Judith Skinner.
Milkman?
Yeah, these are Misfit Nation fans. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys.
What does Milkman mean? I'm getting.
He
I'm
comes
thinking
on
that's
bitches.
comes on bitches. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought he acquired milk from bitches.
I just go with the sexual innuendo every time.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go to that level.
All right. That shows.
Not gonna drop down my standards to
Yeah.
meet yours. Yeah, so a national holiday for white people. We'll do it December 9th every single year.
Okay.
We'll call it
Smollett Day.
Smollett Day. No, we'll call it America Day. Or American Unification Day.
I like it more of like it's a day that we just celebrate a time that all the leftist narratives crashed all at the same time.
Yeah. All like this one.
Well, this one and the Rittenhouse and I got to make this point because I said this off air was that the thing that this also showed is that most of the right wing is actually the more reasonable. Where we looked at the Jesus Christ.
At the moment.
Arbery case. Yeah. I'm just saying.
There was a time where neocons roamed the earth.
Well, it's just Republicans are pussies. They just get steamrolled.
Yeah, by losers like George Bush and Jeb. Like Jeb Bush could have been the candidate.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying in terms of this narrative, let's just say the left showed that they're the more unreasonable ones in terms of like we saw the Arbery case and we saw the trial and we all said, you know what, I was wrong about that. Most of us.
Yeah.
I was
absolutely
wrong. What's the problem in saying that?
I didn't really say anything about the Ahmaud Arbery case other than, generally that they go after, the media is just trying to make a big thing out of every white guy, killing a black person or a person of any race, not just black people. But that case, I waited until the end because I had no idea and I didn't really have an interest. I thought I thought it was a bad case to begin with for the defense. Like, so
I never said it was like open and shut or anything. I just said I don't think it was as open and shut as they said it was on the other side. But then it's like because right. I went through a gun training course and all that stuff right before that trial, and then learning everything I learned there, I looked back at that case and I realized they were totally in the wrong how they went about the whole thing, brandishing right. the weapons, all that. They were a threat.
Because they had no idea that someone running down the street was in fact the person. Like, it's just a black guy running at that point. Right. This is your black guy running case for all the leftists. That was the case that you should have pushed because that was literally black person running in a neighborhood is running while black. He was killed for running while black. Nice. It's nice, presentable. You could have wrapped that up very easily. No, you go ahead and try to make a case against Rittenhouse, where a videotape clearly demonstrates the man is friggin' innocent.
Right.
And the only argument from that prosecutor was, well, the guy who videotaped it, what's his political affiliation and leanings?
Well, but David, what would happen though is if they admitted that it would require them admitting that the system actually worked. And they don't want to do that. So they'd rather ignore the Ahmaud case and focus on something that they can just make up and make it seem like, oh, we're the truth tellers here.
A system. Well, here's the thing. The system actually worked better before the 2020 riots. It worked.
Yeah.
Because I quote to you constantly the statistics on gun violence, the statistics on murders. I mean, the number of murders that went up last year, and even this year it's going to be higher, is primarily due to crime in the African American communities.
Yeah.
And liberal cities, and all that, and the terrorist, the mass shooters and the terrorists this year came from. You remember the guy who tried to get, like, he was a black Islamist, and he tried to get into the White House or something. He rammed his car through a barricade, hit some people. I mean, that's one, the Waukesha thing, where I don't even know how to pronounce that. That's why that hasn't really, blown up, because that town is just hard to pronounce.
To pronounce the name.
This insane BLM guy who was released from prison because of low bail or no bail. I don't really know the exact details. He just rammed into a bunch of people at a Christmas parade, killed old people, killed a child. Like, I mean, and then there's the school shootings. I mean, you hear about the ones with the white guys, but you don't hear about the ones with the other races of people. And let me just put a little bow tie on this. I'm going to look at the mass shooting statistics. Okay. Which year? Perpetrators by race. 73% African American. 13% white. 12% Latino. 2% Asian.
Sorry, say those one more time.
73% of perpetrators were black. 13% were white. 12% were Latino. 2% were Asian.
And that always goes to my point. Whenever they bring in black people, bring in Latinos when it comes to crime, it's like, bro, Latinos have way lower crime statistics than black people. If I was Latin, I'd be like, bro, don't bring me into that shit.
Dude, their community, like, we're in Florida. We see it. Like, their Hispanic communities are actually getting better. Like, the immigrant and illegal immigrant communities, they're actually improving.
Right.
They're actually getting better. Like, I can go to those communities and walk around at night, and I don't feel like it's totally like a different. It's like watching two. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like watching the same kinds of issues being handled in different ways because of culture. Like, the Hispanics came from a culture they like of hard work and like ethics and shit.
Well, a lot of them come from communist countries too.
Right. But here's the thing with African Americans, like Africans who come here as immigrants, like Somalis and whatever. They come here and they become doctors. Like, there's something about coming from a place where there is I don't know, a built up society with a culture that matches your race or ethnicity. Like, that's something that binds you and holds you together and makes you like a shared experience.
It makes you shared
culture. It makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And it was developed over time. These things, but like the thing about like with slavery is that it took away that all like those aspects of African Americans who were shipped over. It took that aspect away from them because it was a long time before freedom. Whereas with Jewish people, as soon as they got freed, like, I showed you that list of inventions. They literally invented everything after the Holocaust.
Right.
Like, literally, like anything you use, iPhones, like you think that was what Steve Jobs? No, all the little pieces there. That was like the dual camera. That's all like Jewish people, like
all Intel engineering.
Hebe engineering, Israel, like the American Jews, like it's all there. I mean, but that's and then I see that with the Asian communities that come from China. It's like we have a Jewish community here, we have a Hispanic community, and we have Asian people here. Like, there's such a shared cultural, thing going on. We all value education. We all value working hard. We all value, like
I think it's
BS morals that we all have, like BS morals that we have values and Like it comes
I
from a
mean, but
conservative upbringing.
what other culture in America has the Democrats used more than black people in terms of like rewarding victimhood? Does that make sense?
I mean, I feel like African American, like I see it in polls, like they're basically on an island here as the only major like Democrat supporters at this
Yeah.
point. They're the
Yeah.
only ones, and they've literally gotten nothing for it.
Never.
Well, like protesting against Trump got them, somewhere. The fact that like Trump was in office, he got them somewhere with the crimes bill and the black owned business thing and
The platinum
the
package and all that
opportunity
stuff.
zones, all that stuff. And then it was best, the best unemployment rate for African Americans. Their wage income was rising
I think
faster
one of the
than
first things he
inflation.
did as president was he increased the HBCU funding. That was like one of the very first things he did.
Urban development stuff that he had, that the 555 guy there, Herman Cain.
Right.
That guy is I got it. My tax plan is the 555 deal. 5%, 5%, 5%.
We're gonna call this one the biggie bag.
Isn't that 15%? No, 555. That guy, like, you see that's the problem with Republicans putting up a black hand. It can't be Herman Cain trying to like jive people into a 555 policy.
Yeah, but I mean, to a degree, I feel that in terms of like, what are they supposed to do? Put out a dude that goes, yo, what up, my nigga? Let me tell you why you need to. I guess maybe they do. Fuck it.
Like we could
Let me tell you why you need to vote conservative, my nigga.
Listen. As a Republican, I could sell the rent is too damn high guy. I could make him president. That guy, characters are fine. And he had a real issue that, like, if someone has an interesting issue or some revolutionary idea, like I will look into that person. I will vote for that person, even if I have to switch parties to be in a primary. Like I'll like the idea of a basic universal income like Yang was talking about, like, and the way he was explaining it of all these pitfalls and how to prevent it, like it sounded like a sound idea. Especially in the time of COVID, and then it became a real idea when Trump, like with Trump, because people needed the money.
Let me tell you how it goes, bro. And this is where I don't know how Republicans fix this. Is, for instance, when Ice Cube went and met with Trump about the platinum plan, right? They looked at it as, we're gonna go and work with the racists because the Democrats aren't doing anything for us. You get what I'm saying? Like, they still see it as that.
Right.
Like, so they're already building into the cake the victimhood that's going to come down the line, because then they could go, oh, well, the platinum plan, this and that, it was made by racists. So this, you know what I'm saying? It's all built in. Like, so until we change that little bit, that little thing where, and I always harp on racism, and it's because of that. It's because that's the thing that's blocking the emotional. It's too emotional for specifically black people and it's too uncomfortable for white liberals to talk about.
I'll tell you what it is. This is the oldest trick from, and you can go back to any time period in history. It's them. It's like, it goes like to serfdom. The Germans were serfs, and they felt a lack of confidence. They didn't feel like they controlled their life. And then they had to, find jobs in those rural areas where, the landowners didn't want to hire them because they could just get cheap labor from Poland and, Switzerland. And then the war with Russia, the World War I, caused the German state to shrink because they lost land. And that caused internal and external migration and immigration throughout the country. And people just swarmed into cities. And then there were no jobs in the cities, and they swarmed to the rural areas. and they felt like dirt. They felt like the German, people around the world. They make fun of the German people. They are trying to put us down. They're keeping us down. We are victimized by everyone, even our own government, even the government, that's social democrats and communists. There's a huge communist party in Germany at the time, before Hitler, and a huge social democrat party, and they would not address the issues. And so Hitler came along and said, you know what, I'm going to do what they did in communist Russia, but I'm not going to call it communism because that's a Russian thing, and we Germans hate the Russians. I'm going to do National Socialist, and I'm going to try to get all the German people gathered together against a common enemy.
Mm.
And for Hitler, it was Jews. And for Karl Marx, it was Jews too. I mean, Hitler literally stole everything from the Marxists, the anarchists, all those groups, and formulated a victim party. And I see elements of that right now in the United States. And the only reason why it doesn't take hold in people's minds is because it's early. People don't expect that from African Americans.
Well,
yet.
they get no. What they
they underestimate their ability to be like for that to happen to them. For them to go down that road.
They prey on the sort of the human. I don't know if it's our nature where we feel like
we have to be fighting for something, but that's what like communism usually does. Is it starts with a revolution, quote unquote,
and then the revolution is this battle that can never really be won or never really be lost.
And that's kind of how Castro took over Cuba, and that's why he always walked around in his military garb, because it was playing off this idea that this communist regime is the revolution, and we always have to fight for this.
And it's caused them to make alliances like the NBA in China, like LeBron James, is supposed to be this activist for social justice, and yet you have a country, Nazi China, that's literally putting people in concentration camps,
enslaving
people. And the onus, and they the whole point of ignoring that is so they can focus on white people in America,
right? And
they try to shut down that conversation every single time it happens. Because they do this thing where it's like, well, the USA is not, doesn't have a great track record of, civil liberties. It's like, right. Dude, we're not we're talking about China.
It's like, America did some shitty stuff.
They're literally ethnic cleansing, killing off, their, other ethnicities, Muslims, and they're planning they took over, they built islands in the Southeast Pacific just so they can take resources away from other countries, and they have planned invasions for multiple countries. Taiwan is just the beginning. And you can read some of their dogma of what they think is, the future of China, the manifest destiny of China.
Mm.
They don't see it as, this is it. They think that they can get a cultural victory over the entire world and then move into places where they have culturally influenced.
Right.
Like Russia, what did they go after? Ukraine. They went after the most Russian area of Ukraine. China, they're going after Taiwan because they consider all those people to be Chinese, even though they think they're Taiwanese. It's Hitler going after the Rhineland. It's like,
and there was a time where no, with Hitler there was, or let's say Germany, there was a time where it wasn't looked at as what they were doing, right? It wasn't.
Oh yeah, they thought the Rhineland. Oh, they didn't do anything because they're like, well, the Rhineland is kind of is Germany. I mean, there's French people and German people, but it's mostly German. So let's let them have it.
Right.
Reunify.
It was still politics. Politics.
Right. It's the same thing with Taiwan, where all these media, like you see it in the media, presentation of it. It's like, well, what are we going to really do about, China if they go into Taiwan? Like, I don't think, like, we shouldn't really have a military action against them. It could cause a nuclear, like, listen, if you don't stop that, like, that kind of action right from the beginning, it's just going to snowball. It's just going to keep unraveling. And that's what Biden has, that's the problem with Biden right now. Is like the Russians are on the border of Ukraine waiting to invade. The Chinese are, building their military up, and they've got their position to go after Taiwan. They're sending planes over to Taiwan just to see what the reaction would be.
Right.
Ships and everything. Like, I mean, it's it
and
really
developed
is
that new missile, right? Like recently, where
Russia's got a new missile.
Well, I think the Chinese one is that it can deliver a nuclear warhead to a precision, like by the inch spot.
Yeah, I mean, China's got some things that we haven't ever seen before. I think they have like there's this story that they have like satellites up there like beaming down radiation at people. I forgot, like it's something in Cuba. It's called the Cuban something. I'd have to look it up, but they have technology. They have crazy drones that can come out of the water and attack a cruise ship. Like, do not, like, if you sleep on China, I mean, people 20 years ago slept on China, and I was like, yo, they look ready. Like they're serious about taking over the world. Like,
yeah.
The fact that we were laughing at them only made them more serious about it. And I did not understand why people did not think that they were like, and you look at Asian people in this country, they're so intelligent and they're so serious. And you think like in China, they have like those people are there. I mean, like a lot of these Asian people are like first, second generation immigrants. They're smart people. Of course, China has 1 billion of them. Of course they're going to be like, they're going to expand and advance and do it very quickly. They're organized. Like like their education is organized for science, math, technology, engineering. And that's paid dividends.
This is how much people don't realize that China is like so up on us, is that they and I haven't verified this, but maybe you can. I heard they were funding, like, sort of teaching us or embedding this woke culture into America. Like they like that's going on. And also
Crishaun, today I just found a poll that was the data from that poll was provided by a US company that's funded by China.
Mm-hmm.
I found it in a poll today and it showed this whole great Democrat support.
This whole soy boy movement that's going on. China fucking loves that.
Doing the opposite.
Video
games, they're tossing them.
Right.
Education, there ain't no liberal arts. Like, you cannot go to, like, they're not, like, they don't want you getting degrees in, gender studies. Like, that's, to them, that's just a waste. Those issues are a waste of time. They are focused on the end game, and the end game is taking out their enemies. And the dumbest thing that we can do, like the U.S. can do right now, is not be allied or friends with the Russians, who are equally scared of China and have been hacked by China constantly and get bullied by China.
But what they're doing now that we connected that, right? This woke culture and all this crazy shit, and that China is behind actually embedding that into our culture. They're basically they have their defense in America. You know what I mean? Like they have an army in America.
They
I'm
have
trying not to
spies
be.
here.
I'm not trying to be hyperbolic about it, but it is.
Like, I don't know how not to be hyperbolic about it. They've caught so many Chinese spies that are
The one that
trying
was
to carry
fucking
out
the senator.
viruses. Yeah, swallow.
That's what they call them in the
He's having
bathhouses.
he's having sex with a Chinese spy, and the
Right.
driver for Dianne Feinstein. And you got them. They're in universities. They're in laboratories. They're in military contractor companies. Like, oh man, I gotta look at the list of Chinese spies. 1 second, Chinese spies, America. 1 second. I mean, there's a
And
whole
see,
list.
I almost did a disclaimer, but I think I'm done doing disclaimers. I almost did the whole thing like, and just to let people know, we're not talking about all Chinese people. It's like, if you're
Like,
that stupid and you think that's what we're doing, go fuck yourself.
who?
I'm
First
not
of
gonna
all,
waste my time with that shit anymore.
but I understand that there's some people that don't like Chinese people, most
course.
notably African Americans recently.
Most notably me sometimes.
Like white. I know there's some white people that don't like Asian people, but generally, like, if we're talking about 90 to 95% of white people, they love Chinese people. Like, they love
No,
Asian people.
you know what Chinese
Like,
when this is what I notice with white people when they have an issue with Chinese people. Their issue is that Chinese people don't assimilate to American culture.
they absolutely do.
No,
Not-
they do in terms of like bringing something to the culture, but when it comes,
yes, they bring something.
yes,
Like,
which is important, which is the most important, right? But in terms of like when you go into a Chinese restaurant, there's not that American kind of customer
no, but I
service.
don't want that. I want them to treat me like dog shit because that's how they make good food.
Yeah, they put all their might into that.
Their
That's a
hatred
good
for
point.
their, like, they like, they're accurate counting, like, you know, like, that's their culture. They're sticklers, you know. They're cheap, like, but not like Jews that are trying to get like the better
They're
deal.
frugal.
They're frugal. It's frugalness, like it, and it's a quality. It's also a detriment to customer service. But when you have such great food, your customer service is, you know, always
And no
gonna be
matter
adequate.
what it is,
Quickly,
Chinese people always do a good job.
always.
Could be dry cleaning, could be fucking shoe cleaning.
And listen, I agree
Hooking
with
up
you,
your
but I
cable.
know some Chinese people that don't do a good job, or Asian people that, you know, when I lived in New Jersey, they didn't do like a good job. They were not
That
good
you-
at math. And that made me feel good because, you know, it made me feel like, you know, white people have a chance at beating them at their own game. Like, you know, it's like we can, you know, some of us can actually, you know,
Were those Americanized Chinese people?
yeah, Americanized Chinese people.
You know what? Fuck it. Then they shouldn't assimilate. They're doing better not.
No, why not? Because maybe they're creative. Maybe they're good at writing. Maybe they're good at something else. I don't know. But the reason why, like, for Jewish communities, we love like Asian people. They are good at education. Like if you're Jewish, why not send your kid to a Chinese person's house or an Asian person's house? They will gain something there. They'll gain something. Like they'll have to do homework there. Like, not only is their father a
discipline.
motherfucker, but their mother is also a motherfucker, and they will discipline them.
Yeah, that's how my grandmother is.
Like, they don't just ask you if you have any homework. They make sure. And that's the same with Jewish families. And I see that the same with Hispanic families. You know, white families, it's a mishmash of crappy culture and good culture and all that. There's bad and good.
Yeah, there's white trash, and then there's.
But there's something monolithic about, you know, these groups of like Asians, Jews, and like people of different ethnicities, people that are proud, like even Russian people that come here, they're white, but they have this this quality about them where they get things done, and
It's called
you know,
responsibility.
I don't know what it's called. I don't want to crap on other people like we've been like I've been doing. Like I don't want it to seem like I'm crapping on other groups, but it just is what it is. Like it just looks like they.
But that's what I'm saying. How is saying you should have responsibility an insult to anybody.
Because
Like,
there
how can
are
that even be taken as an insult?
because it's really the African American culture, the Americanized culture, that is really, not good. It's not African, like people that come from Africa that live here, like we have, like, I have two kinds of African American neighbors. I have immigrants from the Congo, and football players and athletes. Those are the two. They're both, they both work hard. Like, you'll find Republicans among them. Like the football players, you see Herschel Walker running in Georgia. Like, you'll find Republicans among them, and you'll find Republicans among those African doctors that come here, and the engineers. Like, they work so hard, and they have that culture, like, from where they come from.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Caribbean culture. There's a side of the Caribbean culture that's very hardworking, takes care of their responsibilities, and then there's the other side.
It's their kids that are getting pulled into this shitty fucking, victimization culture, or this, like, where, and it's,
I tell my Jamaican family all the time, it's not the same history, bro.
It's surface level things. It's like they want, a Nike shoe. It's like I'll go to like a cookout, where's it? Liberty City down here, and everybody is just like, look at these shoes, look at those shoes. Hey, check out my phone. Look at these shoes. Like, and like music. It's just musical things. What do you think of that? Is this music? What's this television show? Like, there's no real interesting conversation,
right,
for me, like, coming from my background, where it was more, it was heavy duty. Like, let's talk about some business. Who just sold a house, across the street? Oh, it was this lady. Oh, she goes to the church. Oh, but she knows the other realtor from the synagogue, and the synagogue, like it's all business and connections and stuff like that. And it's high level things. It's not like, I want to be a performer or the music artist. Like, who cares? Like, if you're really good at that, like, I can spot that out easily. Like, that is spotted out quickly within my community, and like where I am, of all races and ethnicities. Like, you can spot that out. Like, but not everybody in Liberty City can be a freaking, a rapper or a basketball player. That's a very tiny percent of people. You got to know how to do other things, and hopefully the schools would teach them that these are careers that you should pursue. These are certain, ethics you should have for those careers. You should be good at math. You should be good at science if you want to do this.
Well, that's why I always, like, growing up, my thing. Go ahead.
One second. And don't put yourself in financial debt. All these teachers, like, if they tell you to go to, like, if you get into a good college and they tell you to, take out, $40,000 in loans every single year or semester, don't just do it. You can get a better deal somewhere else. Or you go to community college, you get all A's. You can leave high school early. You can go at like 15, 16, go to community college, get your high school degree, get your college associate's degree at the same time. And if you get all A's, you can back your way into a school like Harvard or Rutgers or NYU.
Well, I don't know. It's just college. College just doesn't. I had never met a smart college kid.
I mean,
that graduated after a certain year. I'm trying to narrow.
Well, I guess I am the exception to the rule.
No, you're a dumb bastard.
I am a pretty dumb bastard.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of somebody smart.
Wow, shots fired.
Shots fired. Let's go. Ready.
I mean, there are. I mean, there's there's the college kids that will believe in Jussie Smollett, and then there's the college kids that'll say nothing and just go along with their day, saying nothing, knowing the truth. Like, they won't share that opinion in class. There's only a very few people that'll do that, speak out. because it's a cult. It's brainwashing. It's like if you say something, they will come for you. Like
I think most of them are just scared. I think a lot of them believe a lot of the stuff that, like a lot of them will sit down with us and agree with a lot of the stuff we're saying, but then with their friends, they wouldn't say that. They're like scared to say it. And then I think that leaks over. I think there was a study done, right, where that kind of influences votes even.
Well, like at Thanksgiving and Christmas, when you show people the videos of the things that, these college educated liberals like learn on television that are false, like you kind of twist their mind around. That's why they don't like they like Democrats have never wanted you to go to Thanksgiving or Christmas. They like I remember in college they used to have like I had a professor who was like, yo, if your parents or your uncle or your family members, they try to influence you, just remember these like steps and try to ignore it. And it's like, yeah, they're prepping you to block your mind from those things. And that was something, but that was something that happened during the Bush era. And that made a lot of sense then. Like, people who were on the money like in 2002, 2003 with the Iraq war, like I respect that. I respect them and I understand why they were trying to get people out of that, that frame of mind that was being propagandized on like Fox and CNN and MSNBC. Like, oh man. But
yeah, I mean, it's you to bring you back to the thing you said earlier, where it comes to conversation. It's like I grew up in the Black community, basically, and you're totally right. That whole thing, like the idea of even having a business conversation, is it always gets to a point of victimizing yourself. Eventually, what happens though with that is that it makes you limit yourself. Because I've tried to do business with a lot of people. When I first started doing this podcast, it was a whole different set of people, and they had the victimhood mentality where I'd go, all right, let's reach out to this person and let's try to get an interview, or let's do that. And it's just like, we can't do that. We can't do. It's like very limiting. And it's almost hopeless. Like you're hoping you get lucky, and the idea of getting discovered, that whole thing, as opposed to going out and getting it yourself.
Because they want to be the bully. The victimized always victimize others.
Yeah.
Like there's exceptions to the rule, but the general rule is if someone is victimized, if someone's sexually abused, they're more likely to sexually abuse someone else. Like
right.
There is a comfort for these people being in this victimization, cult, where they can live out their dream of standing up to the bully and bullying the bully.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone who isn't in the group is the bully to them. They have like forced themselves to perceive everybody that doesn't stand with them lockstep on every issue.
Well, that's like
is a bully.
To give you an example, that's like
we're bullying Jussie Smollett today. Like that's what they think. Like
even on the level of this, like Larry Elder, the guy who was running for governor in California, the black guy. They were literally calling him racist shit. They were throwing shit at him. They were mobbing him. These are all like white people that were doing this to him. And it's like, what you're saying though is they can bully and they can be racist and they can do all this stuff, and they feel like it's justified because they're in their head, they're getting back at the bully. They're bullying the bully.
Essentially, that's what's going on.
Yeah,
I mean, they always feel like they.
It's like
are
I could
in
be
the right.
I could be racist because the white people racist, like that.
Yeah, I mean they like. I mean, even racists know not to do racist things. Like, you know what I'm talking about? It's like
time and a place for that.
There's a time and a place for racism. And that's that, and they'll make up this like, oh, that's covert racism, and that exists throughout, white society, white culture. Like,
Right.
no, that like is literally a thing in every culture, but like you always try to you pick a group and then they're the enemy and then they can do no right. Everything they do will always be turned into something bad. And I'm sure, like in the '90s, a lot of black people believe that because that was happening. CNN used to put on like when they talked about crimes, they would have African Americans be the focus, and then like whoever was committing the crime would be the focus, and so it would fall on African Americans. So it felt like they were felt like Fox, CNN, MSNBC were piling on. And they probably were. They probably should they shouldn't have done like all that coverage. Like I didn't even like it when Fox would just like even in the early 2000s they would just put on, like every day was just this African American, was shot someone in cold blood and it's on camera and he's waving, and they bring on the defense attorney who they would inevitably say everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
And just to make the black people look stupid. Like but it's not like, but that's a real thing. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But like you don't want to take that stand in a case where the guy is like giving a thumbs up to the camera after just committing cold-blooded murder. Know what I mean? Like it's just just such a there's such a disconnect, and it's just I think it's just, like you shouldn't be focusing on these crimes. If there's a mass terrorist attack, a mass school shooting, yeah, go for it. Talk about or if there's an increase, like a 5,000, 5,000, dead, like victim increase from murders in the last year. Like that's something that should be talked about. Like even though that's uncomfortable for liberals and African Americans, like that should be talked about. That like the biggest increase, like the biggest consequence we saw from BLM and the defund the police thing and allowing people to just loot and burn stores. Which I mean, they're still stealing things from stores. I go into places still today and I see people stealing things.
Bro, yeah, it's a huge problem now. It's like it's a lasting problem.
Like the cost of that was 4,000 African American lives last year, and it could be 5,000 African American lives this year. And you're not seeing that same increase in other racial groups.
Let me tell you. I think this is the problem.
You think you got the problem now?
Yeah. 100%.
You think you touched on it?
This is the root. This is the root right here.
All right. Everybody's silent now.
Jewels. Everybody shut up. Everybody
quiet.
Shut.
Crishaun wants to say something.
I'm about to save the black community. My hero. Black families are the only families in America, for the most part, that are based on matriarchs.
I feel like Native Americans are also kind of matriarchal.
Yeah, and they're all fucked up too.
I don't see it as there's room for a matriarch in a patriarch. There's like I see it as a dual system, like
oh Jesus.
Like it is for Asians and Jewish people. Like Jewish women have a lot of power in the home. They have a lot of power. And
in the home.
Like, right. You can make a Jewish person. You can't make them rabbi, but I'm sure like the left has. But they can be president of the synagogue.
Yeah.
And if you're so religious, they are. And if you're so religious that you don't want to deal with it, like that issue, then you're like you need to separate from this what we've got here in our little Jew. Like there's different Jewish sects, and there's Asian sects too, like Koreans and Chinese and Japanese. Like there's
it's like the Christians and the homosexual thing. There's sects of that, yeah.
Like the modern Orthodox Jewish people, like Ben Shapiro, like his wife has a lot of power in the household. I mean, she's a doctor. I mean, he listens to her all the time and gets advice from her on the like clearly there is a corresponding mutual, like there's a mutual respect and a corresponding sharing, like a sharing of ideas that is taken to heart. I don't know, like, if that's different in the African American community. I know it's not so different in the Hispanic community. Like, I mean, I have Hispanic friends who, like, the parents divide up the kids. Like, this their boy is a little too effeminate, so the mom kind of, takes control of the kid and does all the disciplining, and the father goes off with the football, jock, and the the girl that plays soccer, the daughter that plays soccer, and everything. Like there's different attitudes and perspective, like, and there's, it's like it's a dual power relationship.
No, you're missing what I don't think you're missing what I'm saying. Maybe I didn't say it clear. I didn't even say anything.
Are you talking about absence?
I'm talking about gender roles in a family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Where in Black families, women try to play the male gender roles.
Right. And it's probably too much.
And well, the problem is the men, for the most part, concede and let it happen. And I think that's a big issue. And that's why you lead to a lot of single mother. They lead to single motherhood a lot.
They do resist and revolt against the mother too. Like, and then
the
mother's dealing with a 6'4", son that can, bully his way around, get out of the house. And how do you discipline, someone like that? Like, like after like 14, 15, 16, like, yeah, the kid's too big. Like,
look,
like they're cute when they're like 8 and 9, but
let me tell you something. If the thing I grew up with that saved my life was that I had a very healthy fear of my father, right?
Oh yeah, I was scared of my dad.
I was terrified of my dad for a long time. Like, I was intimidated by him, and I think that was important to also learn. Like, there was a point where I had to learn how to, like, stand up to my father on certain things.
And my mom was like, my mom used the wooden spoon on, like, she would like, if I got in trouble, I would have to take Tabasco sauce in the mouth or a wooden spoon. And I would go with the wooden spoon. And then one day, she came, like, I grabbed the wooden spoon first and I snapped it in half. And she goes into the drawer and she comes out with a soup ladle. and even though she was scary and I was scared, I was still more scared of my father, because my father could do some damage, without a soup ladle. Like, and I, like, you can outrun your mom, you can outlast your mom, you can't outlast or outrun your dad unless like, even then he'll come after you while you're sleeping.
Well,
my dad would come after, like, pour water on me.
This is the difference: is you understood and you learn as a man that you can learn to control emotions, right?
Right.
So, like with my mom, it would be easier to control her emotions than my father. Like, my mom, we would do something stupid and she would be, like, pissed off, and then we would do something to make her laugh, and then as soon as she laughs, it's over. There's no hit. She doesn't even want to hit us anymore. My dad, you cannot do that. If he's gonna hit you, he's gonna hit you. And then you'll laugh after.
I figured out how, like, to get my dad to laugh, and then he figured out that that's what I was doing to diffuse the turmoil or coming my way, like, to diffuse him. So he adapted.
David, I'm gonna hit you on your tuchus. Get over here. Yeah,
if you're a troublemaker, you don't want someone with logic in the house like that. You, like, because that's what guys are. It's like very logical and very like, they know how to make it, like, they know how to make it painful, and they know how to torture you. Like, they know how to get right to the issue. And that's with sons. I guess it's different with daughters. Daughters could probably finagle the dad easily.
Yeah.
Easily. But not the mom. Because the mom,
but that's why you got to have those gender roles in place, like, when you have kids.
Right.
And now think of what you're saying, but think of that not being in place at all, and it's just single mother. You know what I mean? Like that whole deal, trying to play all the roles.
It's
She's
just,
not gonna know what to do.
and then you're gonna bring other guys into the house over time, and
Horrible examples, yeah,
like horrible example, like, and the mothers, they like bring in like bad elements, and that's in the hit community too. That's the downfall of the hit community. You bring in some fucking drunk in your trailer, and where's the kid supposed to go and hide? It's not supposed to be affected by that. Like the when you talk about like underage sex and pedophilia, bringing in new men into the household for the mom, like the pornos aren't wrong about it. Like that's what happens in like in bad in communities with bad elements like that. I mean,
well, it's like you got a guy who's not related to your daughter,
right?
all right, yeah, it's just
A
you
hole's a
got
hole.
you got to be more careful. Like I don't know, you got to women don't verify,
But they can't
and
because they people need to be loved.
it's emotion.
It's
And
emotion. They need to be
that's what I'm
loved.
trying to tell you when we go back to and I'm glad you brought up even the hit community and all, because I saw that too growing up. Is that was always the problem, was that it's a household based on emotion. There's no logic like rock there. You know
And
what I mean?
some single fathers, they could be cunt struck and then bring in a bad female element
Yeah.
into the household. And the bad female element is probably someone that didn't get along with their mother, hates other women, gets jealous of other women,
Daddy
and
issues.
is jealous that a daughter will take away attention. And you don't see that when you're cunt struck. You don't it's an emotional element. Like you gotta get emotions out of There's a time to be emotional. It's time to be friends with your kid and trying to hug your kid. But then there's times where you gotta make your kid you gotta let your kid cry and work out the emotion and figure it out, and find other outlets like friends.
It's like the moment when you fall off your bike and your dad doesn't help you get up. It's like sometimes that has to happen. Your mom is gonna run right to you.
Well, that happens like the first or second time, but after a few times, your dad will be like, just let him get up by himself. That's an important lesson.
Yeah, you gotta. But that's what I'm trying to say is now a woman is more likely to run up to the kid and pick him up and baby him.
Oh, poor baby. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, you got a boo boo.
Ooh, gaga. You got a boo boo. Let me mommy kiss it. Ooh, you want a Band-Aid? Look, this one's got Power Rangers on it.
Remember playing sports? My dad used to make me play with injuries.
Oh,
sprain my fucking wrist. Go out there and pitch.
By the time I got to high school, I was basketball. I was playing with injuries, sprained ankles. I should have quit back then. I didn't. No, as a white guy, you don't have those slave knees. Like my knees fell apart. No, I was able to dunk a football.
You got slave knees, but you got desert slave knees.
Yeah, my knees are good for pushing,
pillars of like
stones, square stake stones up pyramids, but not jumping.
Look at you! Oh, you went into conspiracy world there,
dude. I was when I was a kid, ninth grade, I thought I was going to be Nate Robinson on the Knicks, 5'9" guy that could do crazy dunks, because that's where I was able to get, I could dunk basketballs. Rarely, when I was really stretched and warmed up in these odd moments, and then
a little spring,
a little spring, my calf muscles, and I just jumped too high too many times, and my knees I had that Derrick Rose issue where my knees I started getting back pain, I started getting ankle issues, I started getting hamstring getting pulled and stuff. And then it's like Derrick Rose. You have all these injuries that are giving you a sign that your knees are not, doing all the weight. They're forcing secondary muscles to help you out.
But let me ask you a question.
Supposed to do.
Didn't Jews run the NBA at one point?
Yeah, but not as players. Maybe some of them were players, but
I remember Jews were really great athletes at one point, and then you guys just decided to stop.
Yeah, because they were freaking poor in the 1910s, 20s, 30s.
Not a good move.
No money in
Right.
it.
And then it was like, so many of them were inventing like stereo systems were like in the 1940s by a Jew who was working in the army. Like eventually we all just figured out like, yo, we can just like create basically all kinds of technology. Like, let's just
Like,
go
why are we
that way.
running track when we could
Engineers,
just be in the
lawyers,
lab?
doctors, like we can invent new drugs and remedies. We can invent new laws, and we have like child support, and we can create like like all kinds of electronic inventions, and there's a history of it. And then their kids, the kids of those people, are creating new inventions. It's like this is both a biological and habit forming like society, like culture. So like why be athletes? Athletes is a nice dream when you're, 6 to,
So I'm
14, but you got to get serious at some point.
it's
Figure out
almost
what
like,
else
yeah, I
good
want to
at.
be a rock star. It's like so at some point culturally, it's like your parents started telling you, no, don't get into
Right.
sports. Don't
Like
do this.
it's
Don't do
like
that.
like they look down upon it because they know there's a small shot. And your parents, if you're a good rocker, your Jewish parents are going to know that you got something like or somebody in the community is going to see that you have some sort of talent there
Kind of
and
like Howard
cultivate it.
Stern's dad. He saw that
Right.
he helped his
Right.
son get
But you
in.
don't get lost in rock. Like that's looked down upon. Like I'm just thinking of everybody that tried to be a rock star. They all like and the heavy ones that wouldn't quit it even after college and all that. They just went on to drugs. Like it's like I had this friend who played World of Warcraft all the time. He's a gamer, constant gamer. And when he stopped playing World of Warcraft, he turned to drugs.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Like
people
because
who
he had nothing to fall back on. He had nothing else that he loved. You got to find something else
well, let me
that you
tell
love.
you. Let me tell you, as a failed musician, I went through that same thing where I didn't go to drugs because I grew up, basically raised by a drug addict. So it was like that was not in my realm.
I didn't touch a
And
drug until 24.
until 24.
Age 24.
What a herb.
That's how great my parents were. Like, nope, I had friends who did marijuana and I would always abstain. I drank alcohol, but I would always abstain from like
Yeah, I started
cigarettes.
smoking weed at like 20 something, 21. I was a late bloomer.
Yeah, that might have been when I was probably introduced to marijuana, but like you didn't have like that element, My parents would tell me to stay away from the rocker, the guy who's hanging out by the corner, like delicatessen with a hoodie, like
Right.
the weird guys, the white guys with the hoodies. And like just bad elements. They got in trouble all the time. Who had motorcycle. Their parents let them have motorcycles when they were in 7th grade. Like it's just. I mean, like, it's just it's not like, it doesn't cultivate a good, maybe it does. Maybe it cultivates someone who joins the army, which is something that I was interested in growing up.
I think there's a part of like growing up that you do have to like, stretch your legs a little bit, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like you can't be sheltered your whole life.
Like I feel like I was sheltered a bit, but all the things I was sheltered from would have just like for me, my personality would have just sunk me into drugs. It would have just sunk. Like if I had done like marijuana in high school, like after basketball, it would have been habit for me. It would have been emotionally addicting. And I was better off just focused. Like that was my decision in high school. Like at 16, I had to decide whether I wanted to stay in high school and play basketball or I wanted to go to community college and get my high school degree and my associate's degree. And I thought about it. I said to myself, I'm better off getting an associate's degree. I can always join a basketball team at the community college world league. I can always expand my horizons there. And I did. I joined political clubs. I joined the Democrat and Republican club. I joined in my 4-year school, undergraduate school. I joined the Republican and Democrat Party and became president of both.
Jesus.
at the same time.
What are you, a fucking
I
traitor?
got,
Double
dude,
agent?
I just loved politics. I just went out there and just said, fuck it, I'll just go. Like, and I was a Republican, and I like this was the turning point where I was just like, I'm just into politics. I went to CPAC, and everybody was still riding George Bush and John McCain. Like, we're gonna go, like, we should be going to war with China and Russia, and like Russia. Like, the thing was Russia, and stay in Iraq and go into Venezuela and Cuba. It's like, how many conflicts? And why don't we focus on things that people care about, like the like, it was my idea. 2008. What was that? 13 years ago. I went up to Newt Gingrich and I was like, I think we should just target, the Midwest, like Michigan and Pennsylvania and Ohio and Minnesota, because those voters are becoming more like, they're white voters. They're becoming more Republican.
And that's
like,
basically what Trump ended up doing, right?
Right. Let's give the union people something. Let's not be all in on this, these free trade agreements like that are hurting us. Like, I mean, there's just too much like that China is doing that is harming the United States. And the fact that, like, our news media is, like, basically control, like CNN is Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers wants to sell their movies to China. Right? Like that,
Right.
that's a big deal. They're conglomerate of, like, I think they're HBO2, and I think they have like Turner Classic. They have like contracts with the NBA. Even Walt Disney has ABC and Fox News and all that. They're controlled. They're controlled by China, which is a big market for movies and video games and all kinds of things. Like, I mean, Microsoft wants to sell their games in China.
Right.
I mean,
well, they
like,
edit all their stuff to like fit with China's guidelines. You know what I mean?
they need to get materials from China. We can get the materials, like the supply chain issue. If we had just developed some mines in the Midwest, the Rockies, and like the West Coast, California, if we had just gotten some of those mines open, we wouldn't have to rely on China for 100% of like electric vehicle materials, solar panel materials, like all the things that like leftists want to do to what's it called, speed up the green revolution. That's all precious metals that we need to look for and mine in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And we need to create a network of infrastructure of oil and natural gas and solar panels too as a secondary option. And we have to connect all these things so we can just move materials around through North America and even South America. Instead, oh my! I mean, everything that this green revolution thing wants to do is just counterproductive. Like, they're against industrial farming. So what happens when you go after industrial farms in the United States? Well, they start burning. Brazilians start burning down the rainforest and start creating land for cattle and chickens and pork, and they create the cornfields and everything. And I guess they rely on the United States for extra corn if the land isn't being used for some sort of carbon capture Ponzi scheme. I mean, that's what they want to do. They want like Bill Gates buying up farmland because they're going to do this carbon capture Ponzi scheme where they're the land is just going to be that isn't developed or isn't developing agriculture or livestock. That's going to be your carbon capture. What they do for the carbon to the land to create more carbon capture, it probably is something, but I would think that it's not going to be significant enough. What they should really do, and this is my idea. You know how they take water out of the air? They have these devices that take water out of the air, and they can take gases out of the air. Just capture all the gases when they're released and emitted. Put those things on the back of car exhausts. Like if they can do it for water, they can do it for carbon dioxide. Like carbon dioxide is like a thick, heavier gas that stays mostly to the ground, and like as opposed to like gases like oxygen and hydrogen, which are like carbon dioxide is sitting at the ground, and it's like you can see that with cities where it's like there's these like fog or smog in like China. Like it's more likely to stay to the ground and disperse towards other areas on the ground, and it does disperse upwards if there's too much, because a higher concentration of gas, if there's a high concentration of gas, it's going to disperse to areas of low concentration through divergence, like yeah
I don't know. I don't know shit about green energy.
All right.
I told you I'm a coal man.
I'll explain that.
For Christ's sakes.
Convergence is when air like smashes with each other and causes causes the air to rise and make clouds. Divergence is when it goes up, the clouds start to expand outwards, west, north, south, and east. That's divergence.
Okay.
So that's what happens with gases when there's a high concentration of CO2. It diverges and disperses, like air.
How many millibars is that?
Millibars?
Millibars.
Millibars? I don't know what you're trying to say. Millibars?
I don't know.
Are you playing a joke on me?
I'm being coy over here.
Am I getting too sciencey?
I'm
going into a little.
Well, it's like
yeah. Should we talk about porn?
Yes.
God, there's a lot of incest porn. Why is there so much incest porn?
Incest porn?
There's so much incest porn. Like I just like it makes me uneasy that there's this much incest porn. It's like it's like normalizing
like brother
incest.
Sister thing.
Oh yeah, I think media is trying to normalize that. Like there's shows that are trying to normalize sibling relationships, like Game of Thrones. Like that. Like Game of Thrones wasn't just a one-off. I mean,
I do think they use porn to normalize a lot of things.
Do you think they use porn to normalize a lot of things?
Yeah, big asses.
Big asses, huh?
Big asses.
Like
find some porn before what, like 94?
Yo, people will just take a porn that's not sibling porn and like incest porn, and they will just rename it as incest porn. Like they'll title it incest porn, so people will click on it. Well, like that's how big incest porn is of an industry.
Yeah, well, I see a lot of that too. I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but it'll be just like a homemade video, and it'll say I fucked my aunt, but then it'll just be a video of a dude fucking a chick, and it's like you're just putting that as the caption.
I want to see Jussie Smollett in one of those prison rape pornos.
Right.
Find lookalikes.
Yeah.
Whoa, and Don Lemon. Don Lemon is the what's Don Lemon? Don Lemon is the one giving him protection in prison. Try to create a
no, Don Lemon sells him for a pack of
Don Lemon sells him. Sells him for 2 packs.
A carton of Marlboros.
Of American Spirit cigarettes.
Yeah. Look at that CNN thing. They're in Dutch, huh?
CNN?
Oh yeah. By the way, let's go for like another 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll start wrapping it up soon.
All right. What could we do for 5 minutes? Do you want to go 16 blocks?
16. Oh no, that's gonna. Oh god,
that'll derail it. But like, who's the main character in 16 blocks?
Most Def.
We gotta go 16 blocks.
Oh no, hey Jack Motley.
Thanks, Jack Mosley. You took me 16 blocks.
You're
You're a good man, Jack Mosley.
Jack Mosley.
Jack
You a
Mosley.
good man.
You're a good man.
I'm gonna give me a
You're
cake
my
chop,
brother.
Jack Mosley.
Now you're my brother.
You know what the most fake part of that movie too was? When he shows him a picture of his sister, and then all Mos Def says is she look like a real nice woman.
She's a real nice woman. She's an angel.
Is it one of those movies where
It's like
two people who come from different walks of life realize they have more in common than they thought?
dude, if I saw a picture of anyone's sister, I would just make, even if she was unattractive, I would just make, sexual comments just to
like,
make
why
my
are you
friend
showing me
feel
your
like
fucking sister?
Like, why are you showing me your sister? Like, is there some, like, it's just such a bad movie.
It really is. I thought it was good until you turned me on it.
I turned you on 16 Blocks. 16 Blocks is just another, like in the 90s and early 2000s, they would do these movies where they would put a black guy with a white guy.
Right.
And it would be, a black-white kind of, tug and pull while they're
it's almost like the
mission.
it's like the novelty to them where they go, look, we put a black guy.
Like, we put a black guy in here. Like,
oh my God, we're crazy.
Yeah, but the problem is Mos Def is not that black guy. And the other, but Hollywood thought, we just put a crazy black guy like Chris Tucker with, Jackie Chan because he's kind of quiet.
Yes. Well, that made sense because
Yeah.
the Asians and the blacks hate each other.
Yeah.
But
Asians, where that thing where like Asians are the quiet and no one like thinks they're assertive. That's from the Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker movies. What was it called? Rush Hour.
Really?
That's what I was seeing. Like that was the perception of Asians in like every movie, unless it's a karate movie. But even in karate movies, they were never like assertive that much. They would just kick your ass if you were doing something evil. Or they'd have the other guy try to kick their butt, and it would make them.
Rush Hour didn't bother me that much because it played off a reality where it's like Chris Tucker was extremely racist to him the whole movie, and then there's like one part where like Jackie Chan says something that's like kind of a little racist, and it's like this big, man, I can't believe you said that, like that.
Rush Hour is kind of the best version of that kind of, genre. Of
what
black
do you call that?
And white.
Racial comedy, I guess.
Racial comedy.
Yeah, but 16 Blocks. The reason why 16 Blocks sucks is because it's almost like one of those movies where they have the moment where the white guy says to the black guy, "We the same.
We the same now.
Me.
Jack Mosley, we the same."
Yeah. You a good man, Jack Mosley.
We're gonna be friends when you get out. Thank you, Jack Mosley. And Jack Mosley was a corrupt cop seeking redemption.
Yeah, and then he takes
Screw
his place
Mos
at the
Def.
Yeah, Mos Def makes him realize.
Mos Def was like the Catholic, priest that just, absolves, the white guy of his sins, of the sins of his forefathers, and whatever.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You've been redeemed, Jack Mosley.
You better. I'll be here when you get out, Jack Mosley. Thank you.
You can come to my cake shop.
No, if anybody, I don't care if you're white, black, if you were meeting that kind of resistance from protecting this, like a guy from testifying against your fellow officers, like who the hell would get involved?
remember the big twist was that he was actually involved in the case, so he was going to implicate him too.
Yeah,
but Jack Mosley, you didn't do that, did you, Jack Mosley?
Yeah, everybody, Your Honor, it was everybody but Jack Mosley. He's my brother now.
We all make mistakes, Your Honor.
Yeah, we all make mistakes, Your Honor. And Jack Mosley realized that he's a good man. He don't want to do bad no more. Oh, the best is when they put Mos Def in what's that the heist movie with the Mini Coopers, the Italian Job,
Was he
where
in
he's
that?
like,
I didn't see
yeah,
it.
he's like with 5 other white guys, and he's just like looking up to all of them.
Yeah, token.
He
Def is the
like
dumbest motherfucker on the planet, by the way.
I
He really did. You know his story, right? He renounced his U.S. citizenship.
right.
Moved to Africa, thinking that he was gonna go live the African dream.
Right.
And he gets this thing that's called a world passport, where you don't have a country, but it's only recognized by like 3 countries in the world.
Okay.
And there's none in Africa. And they basically tried to arrest him. And they gave him he had a hard time, and then he I guess looked for the U.S. for help, and they're like, no, you kind of renounced your U.S. citizenship. You're not us anymore.
It's not like
Go
Trump's in office.
Yeah, right.
Yo, if you are captured by our enemies, Trump will get you back. Okay, Trump got the what's it, Lorenzo Ball back from China. He got people back from North Korea. This guy will get you back. He will find a way to get you back. That's just like that whole that thing about him is why there are aspects of him people should like, because there's no man left behind. But anyway, Mos Def is a stupid motherfucker, because who wouldn't, what black guy wouldn't be able to realize that they were just a prop in these movies to make they were just the stereotype of a dumb black guy who didn't know nothing, who had a way of speaking that is illegible. Like, I saw this guy tried to go on Bill Maher with Christopher Hitchens, the atheist guy. Yeah, and it was just it was embarrassing for him, and he got pouty, and he's like, oh, and then he started thinking, oh, this is racist. This guy is racist. Right. He started playing the race card for no reason. It's those examples that warm my heart, because it's just a demonstration of people that are just using victimization.
Even on this level of let's say, okay, we accept that he's just using his victim card, right? But he's using it, making albums, making money from being a rapper, being in movies, being the co-star with Bruce Willis, being in the Chappelle Show, being basically a underground guy who became a mainstream icon to a degree, and then he just denounces his citizenship.
He's Jussie Smollett. The guy tried to pull a hoax on Bill Maher, a hate hoax on Bill Maher, because he couldn't understand what Christopher Hitchens was saying.
Right.
Christopher Hitchens is, he's not a right winger, but he was for the Iraq War. I don't know why. And trying to make him out as some sort of, you're
the devil, Christopher Hitchens.
You're the devil, Christopher Hitchens.
You're the devil.
You're a bad man, Christopher.
Oh, remember that from 16 Blocks too, where he almost had a retard moment where the 2 cops go and he's like, I don't think these are good guys.
I don't think these are very bad people.
I don't want to be left here, Jack Mosley.
Jack Mosley, please.
Stay with me, Jack Mosley.
Only 6 more blocks, Jack Mosley.
Oh, fuck. And it ends in a bus.
It's like, why don't you find a phone and call the court up and tell them that you're being held up by an army of cops
that are police officers.
By rogue police officers. It's so dumb. And this is the time of cell phones came out, and it's just get to a landline if there's no cell phone. Call the cops. The court has police, has sheriffs, that will come, and they will find you.
And then he finally finds a phone. And then he calls his sister, who's an ambulance driver, and what's cringy about that is before Mos Def is going, who are you gonna call, Jack Mosley? And he goes, somebody I trust. The only person I trust.
Sis, I gotta know who you gonna vote for. Things are just to name things who
Yes.
Call the courthouse. Call the prosecuting attorney.
Remember the end where Mos Def was trying to calm
Call
down the
Trump.
little
He's
girl.
giving out favors.
He was trying to calm down the little girl in the bus. And he's like, "What's your birthday?"
Oh yeah, right.
Look,
That's the only thing that made sense to me.
Right here, it's a princess cake.
That's the only part that when he's talking to the kid, like that's the only thing that made sense to me because it was so silly that like a kid could, like a kid, like a 9-year-old kid is on his level.
Yeah, like she was like, "Oh, he's one of them." Even she was like that.
Like clearly, Mos Def is a rapping savant. Clearly, he's a rapping savant.
Yeah, I'm not taking away his rapping skills. I think he's a good rapper. He's good. If he was great, he wouldn't have to be this ridiculous.
I mean, yeah. I mean, who's another ridiculous rapper out there? There's got to be another one. No one's that ridiculous, I guess. Eminem. Eminem was ridiculous for a whole different. He was ludicrous.
I was listening to old Eminem stuff that I haven't listened to in years, and I was just like, I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
He was fucking hilarious. I don't know what happened to him.
Vomit on a sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface, he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But that was such a craze back then. I mean, even the Abercrombie kids, in the 90s were listening to Eminem. He just blew up.
Yeah. Well, he was pop. He went pop.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he did go pop. I mean, simple I'm not going to call it trashy, but simple, like rap and pop are simple simple music unless there's a band. I mean, that kind of era destroyed bands. Like Eminem being that big. Like I remember back then there were rock bands like Good Charlotte. I mean, Green Day came out with their anti-war album. There was who else? Not Nirvana.
What are you talking about?
Like the songs from American Pie. American Pie is a white person.
Bare naked ladies.
That's a sheltered white person. The skeevy sheltered white people.
1 week since you looked at me. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like the suburb white people.
Like the suburb white people.
They go to college. They come back for the summer.
Right, but they're white people getting into shenanigans. Like this band is on fire with passionate love.
We're gonna destroy their jet skis, and it's just a funny prank.
Right,
we could buy new ones.
Oh man, it's so evil. Yeah, it's like white people. Like we can just destroy personal property and break someone's arm because we can pay for it.
We can pay. Insurance has us.
Yeah. Why would we be prosecuted? We can amend. We can make amends through finances.
And then they all have a chuckle.
Loans and collateralization.
That's
financing
like
structures.
In your neighborhood, there's a lot of look, I don't want to press charges. I just want them to pay for it.
Oh, my neighborhood.
What's going to get paid for?
My neighborhood is like, listen, I'm sorry I hit your car. I'll pay for it. Like you go up to people and say, hey, I did this. Like even if you're a college student and you don't have a lot of money, you could say, listen, I will pay for this, over time. Can we have a payment plan or something? Like people will actually do that. Like where
a payment plan between people. Jesus.
A payment plan.
That's unheard of where I'm from. Actually, no, it's not, but it just usually doesn't end in payment.
Right. But, if you don't have anything, you don't want to give up what you have already. So, I mean, it doesn't really work everywhere. But it would if there was universal basic income. Crishaun.
Oh, Jesus.
We just paid everybody,
Then we wouldn't have to worry about money. We just go in and
but then what is the meaning of money? This is the issue with it, though. What is the meaning of money if we do that? If everyone gets, a living wage for, essentially not and there are, let's say 10 to 20% of people that are not doing anything. like that's not gonna work because people are gonna start
completely-
not doing anything.
Equal pay completely destroyed my job. And I'm not
Equal
going to get
pay?
into details of my job, but they
do experiments. They do experiments in colleges where they say, you know, we're going to give the whole class the average grade of every student who takes the test. And then on the first test, you know, like some people, the average score is like a B minus. And the people who really studied and got A pluses, they say, you know, like, shit, some people aren't studying. I'm going to slack off. And hopefully the remaining people who study hard are going to, you know, pull me up too, just like the people that, you know, we're going to get, you know, D's and F's. But it doesn't happen. Everyone just keeps pulling each other down. And then nobody starts to work. And you see the grade point at B minus, and then the next one is a D plus, and then everyone starts yelling at each other. And then the next one is an F because nobody wants to work anymore. Everyone's angry. And how can you study when you're like in a rage, you know? You can't.
Yeah.
You're just blaming other people, and then you look for a scapegoat. And who's the scapegoat? It's going to be the professor. At the end of the day, that's who.
The system.
That's the system.
Yeah.
The system is the problem. It's not the other kids that were pulling everybody down. It's the professor who was, you know, trying to do an experiment that demonstrated that, you know, equal pay and just giving everyone, like, it's fine to have equal pay, like at a certain level when people are like, when they're doing work. But when you have people just not like sitting on their asses.
When you're doing equal work. Yeah.
Right. But I know a few people who get checks from the government because they're deaf. And there are levels to this. There's the deaf people that can't work really, and they're older. And then there's the deaf people at like, you know, in their 30s and 40s that can and could get a job, but they don't. Even though they have like the job I do with like just reviewing like documents. Like, you know, for companies, a deaf person could easily do that job, and it would pay them $25-$30 an hour.
Right.
Just reading documents. If you have that kind of skill set where you can go through a bunch of documents, if you go like 60 documents in 60 minutes, a doc a minute, you can, you know, you're useful, like, because you can find things out in those documents.
Yeah, you find your place.
Like,
Find your place
and I'm talking about documents that, you know, a simple search can't find using the internet. Like there's some documents like where it doesn't highlight things in you know, a document. But anyway, like those people could work, but they've been sitting around for 10, 15, 20 years, and they're not in the world. They're just collecting a paycheck, and they're going fishing during the day, drinking a beer, and, you know, that's it.
Yeah. Disability fraud and all that shit.
And then I got another friend who, you know, his mom's a teacher and his dad's deaf, and he get a disability check. But his dad worked for 30 years to 40 years before, you know, and was, you know, losing his hearing during that time, but still like managed to do it. So that's a situation where I don't cut Social Security for those people. I don't know. Didn't I start out with what were we talking about? Universal basic income?
Yes.
And
then equal pay.
Right, equal pay. Okay.
Yeah.
How this relates to Jussie Smollett is this, right?
Oh, you're gonna bring it up. You put a bow on it. Go ahead.
If he would have paid fair wages to his accomplices in the hate hoax, I mean, this would have done right. He could have paid me, and I would have come up with a great hate hoax and
Well, maybe first you hire white people.
First off, you hire white people,
racist,
and you do it through an LLC. That
and you do it on a payment plan
that goes back to a PO box in, you know, West Virginia.
Right.
And then you
need a mastermind, a good white mastermind.
You do like a private message that like can't be found, like that deletes, you know, an encrypted message to Jussie and say, meet me out in Bumblefuck at 3 a.m. On a warmer night, not in a polar vortex. And we will give you a good lynching. We'll do it properly.
We'll give you a grade A lynching.
Why are you black people to do a lynching? Like, go to the professionals. NASCAR. Go. Someone at NASCAR could do a lynching better. Like, I mean,
You want good Aryan stock.
Yeah.
Running your lynching.
Oh, that NASCAR thing was another hate hoax.
Yeah, that too. The noose.
Where the noose was just a pulley
to pull down the garage or something.
Garage, because it's heavy. You use a noose to
Yeah.
It has a pulley system. So you have a grip on this heavy thing, and like you can knock it down while having leverage. Like you can bring it down while still keeping the noose up, and so the garage doesn't slam shut because you're holding the noose up while you're bringing it down.
Right. Yeah. But this is what they did now, right?
And it also makes for good hanging rope too.
Right. But this is what they did now with that hoax, right? They made it perfectly. They made it perfectly acceptable for them to have a noose in that garage now as a joke.
I thought the joke was that, like, it wasn't a noose.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they put up a real noose now as like a joke on the hoax,
like
I would accept that. No, I wouldn't call it racist because they're putting it up.
Say?
Huh?
It's like that's racist. Well, who's to say?
I'm black. Remember, I'm speaking as a black man right now. A high value black man, by the way.
Not according to the second round of the race draft.
One drop rule. And then I'm white whenever I want to be white. But right. Yeah. If they put up a noose as like, yeah, we did that because of the hoax that happened and we think it's funny, I would go, all right, that makes sense now.
Right, as a spoof?
Because we didn't really have one last time. Now we do. And that's funny. Don't
give the other side unforced errors, all right? That's just an unforced. If anyone out there is thinking of do this, don't. That's just an unforced error.
An unforced error?
Yeah, it's like, you're giving them something real to grasp on.
Yeah.
What, you think lynchings are funny? Hate crimes are funny? Like, don't give them that. Listen, dude.
What do you mean? They made it up.
Yes, I know. Keep letting them talk. I want the hardcore leftists to be out on television every single day, cheering on these ridiculous notions. Like the video I showed you where the white lady is talking about how Jussie Smollett didn't like that the prosecutor was reading off the N-word in court. He wanted them not to say the N-word. And the white person was just shrugging and like, what the? That doesn't even make sense, man. Like, that's ridiculous. And the black lady is like, I totally understand that. No, you don't understand that. You need to give, that's evidence. Those words are evidence. It provides context to the issues. Someone just, two people just saying the N-word to each other constantly, completely, annihilates this facade that Jussie Smollett is offended by the word. He's not offended by the word. He just doesn't he hates white people because whether rightfully or wrongfully, I mean, there's a just reason to the history of slavery. Yeah, you can hate white people, but that isn't good. Like, that's not something you should be promoting.
Doesn't justify a crime.
It doesn't it's like that belief has been sensationalized, and the history has been sensationalized and reignited over and over and over again, that it's causing someone like Jussie Smollett to just fake a crime in order to cause a devastating riot for some town.
Yeah.
Division. Like, Chicago needs more murders. Like, it needs more violence and riots and
riots
and buildings on fire.
Needs to be burned down a third time.
There was an apartment that went down in 2020 in one of those riots. Like there were like people were there, like and no,
People
thankfully, I
lost
don't
their
think anyone
homes.
died. People did lose their homes, but an apartment, and a fire was set, and it spread to the apartments, and people could have been in there, and they could have died. Like it could have been hundreds of people, and that would have ended everything. That would have ended BLM and Antifa and Democrat right there. Like that would have stopped it in its track. Yep.
At that time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, listen, no, like, you see how, like, with the Cuomo situation, that even leftists were like, yeah, I have a grandmother that died. Like, I don't like this guy is a murderer. He needs to go. Like,
yeah, you're right. Because I'm thinking like they're able to write off individual things like the David Dorn murder. Like they're able to write that off and go, it's just some crazy people that, outcasts from the group. Like if it's a whole building going down and like causing a massacre, it's like, yeah, that's a little hard to.
I mean, they can ignore a mass shooting of 5, 6, 7 people, but once you get into like the teens and 20s and 30s, like it starts to register with people. It's like, why am I worried about some Nazis that live all the way in Bumblefuck when I have Nazis that live in the city?
Right.
Like I got the same problem. Like for Jewish people,
redcoats here.
it's like, why there was one attack by a Nazi at a synagogue. There's been like a dozen by black nationalists, Islamist groups. I mean, like I told you the story about that guy that came in for a Hanukkah party and just stabbed a Jewish family.
Yeah,
like kids. Like
there was the shooting, the black couple that did the shooting. I think it was at
the kosher supermarket.
Yeah.
It's like a rabbi down here just walking home from synagogue. He just gets the shit kicked out of him by black guys jumping out of a car. Like, and that's happened in my own like neighborhood, like back in my old area. Like just one day, my next door neighbor, she's going for a jog. Car stops in front of her. Like black people get out and they start kicking the crap out of her. Bruises for a month. Like significant injuries, just like, and nothing stolen. They took nothing. They just got out and beat the crap out of her. And it's like, what?
Right.
Like how is this?
Well, then it's like the whole thing with the Stop Asian Hate Crime, and it's like, but then you look at the stats, and it's like, most violent crimes.
They are not buying it for a second.
Yeah,
Asians are way smarter and way too logical.
That's why it didn't last that long. It didn't catch.
It lasted for a second, and then Asians were like, "No, we need help. We're getting attacked by black people in urban areas and suburban areas." And it's like our stores are getting destroyed, and like,
well, it's like when you
they
see
have
like
nail polish. They have nail salons,
like Black Lives Matter and stuff going, doing the Stop the Asian Hate thing, and it's like, okay, then just stop committing crimes against Asians.
They went into a nail salon to tell a bunch of Asian people that they shouldn't be worried about black people because, like, it's the black neighborhood. Well, guess what? I mean, if they're worried, if they have, like, Asian people don't, like, they mind their own business. If they're worried about you, like, I'll say there is a racist component to like Asian, culture, and like there is a racist component there. And like you can see that in China. I mean, Japan was the most racist, Asian country, and like, I mean, China.
I think maybe Korea
too. I mean, like it's not. I mean, they're not like, they wouldn't be worried if there weren't so many. Let me check out the black hate crimes against Asians.
Well, a lot of them don't get classified as hate crimes either.
Right.
There's the one that of the video of the, like, it's like an entire neighborhood basically chastising this Chinese guy walking down the street. He's like a homeless Chinese guy, and they're literally like yelling at him, "We hate Asians, nigga. We hate Asians." And
yeah, there's literally videos of him.
Listen, in the caption for the video, it says possible hate crime.
No, it's like it's so there's so many videos. Like, are you talking about the old man that got beaten up by a bunch of they were punching this old black guy that was this old Asian guy that was crying. He was like
Yeah, and he was crying
80 or
and
90
stuff.
years old. He was crying and he's why
Yeah.
are they doing this to me?
In the caption, it says possible hate crime. It doesn't say hate crime.
Like I'm
Possible.
I'm pleading with black people. Do not go down this fucking corner. Like, don't go down this road. Don't go down this road. This is Nazi level shit. Like, don't go down. Like, it's not good for anyone. It's not good for you either. Because at the end of the day, you're still like you can maybe pull this off if you were 40% of the population, but you're not growing as fast as Hispanics and even among what's it called? Like mixed race people. Like they're coming to Republicans. There's like a majority now. And like they live in suburban and rural areas because Hispanics they're like they have big communities in rural areas with white people.
David, it's again the disconnection that we're having with this conversation is that everything we're saying right now will be perceived as racist.
I don't give a damn. I really don't.
No.
At this point, the race card is done. The Jussie Smollett thing is a shining example of why we should not, why the race card should not be implemented. Like,
you're right,
so
but
quickly.
It still works, is what I'm saying. How do we get it to stop working?
Oh, it's too much. Don't you see? It's too much. They're doing it so much that, like, in the polls show Hispanics, Asians, Jewish people, mixed race people, they're leaving. They're gone. They don't like this. Like, to focus on those issues instead of the economy, like,
is ridiculous.
Again, that's Nazi level shit. That's what you do. That's what Hitler does. That's what Karl Marx did. You focus on people that you dislike, and then you use them as a scapegoat for all the problems. What they do? They use racist Trump as a scapegoat. They use racism as a scapegoat. And at the end of the day, they just made like a problem that could have been fixed by Trump, like the oil thing, like where you get Saudi Arabia to increase oil output. Like,
and my whole point in this, I see exactly what you're saying, and I'm with you. My whole point is, how does that change in the conversation? Like, is it that you do disclaimers and shit like that, or is it that you just have the conversation and then hope they eventually they catch on?
I mean, I'll do a disclaimer if I feel that I've gone too far, or it seems like
I don't think we have though. But I know people will think that, like, the people that we would be trying to get to, I feel like would feel that way.
I mean, like, but they're basically on an island that's getting smaller at this point. Like, the people are jumping off. Black people are going to jump off of it. Like, listen, I'm looking at these polls, and what used to be like you'd have to worry about 80 to 90% of black people getting to the polls. I only got to worry about 65, 70% at this point. That's all I got to worry about. Because even black people are looking at this stuff and being like, yeah, my life kind of sucks under this administration. Nothing is getting done. We're complaining about all these racial issues, but no one is really speaking, like, getting to the point on it. No politician is really pulling out, like, I don't know, like, actions or providing solutions.
I think their final race card is going to be Kamala.
Oh, no.
Try to use her to cover up.
Trump Harris poll just came out. 50% would support Trump, 41% Harris.
How much time do you think they, like, let's go with this idea that they're trying to crash America, right? You believe that, right? They're trying to
I think black people feel hopeless, and
not black people. I'm talking okay, right.
Like,
I'm talking leftists.
Antifa types,
Communists.
those guys that are pedophiles that are out of jail, those Antifa types.
Yeah.
They stormed the beaches of Normandy.
Normandy. Yeah,
They
yeah,
stormed the beaches of Normandy
yeah. They
to rape
parachuted
children.
in.
Those guys, and BLM.
Well, I think even
Where was I
even
going with
the
that?
I think even like the Biden administration, I think they're all trying to destroy this country. But what I'm saying is how much time do you think from this point do they need to actually get to that point? To turn America into a communist country? Or
I
even to
think
war.
I
Civil
think
war.
I think that it wasn't going to be. It would have been like an oligarchy in Russia. It'd be the same National Socialist, Communist, Capitalist, hodgepodge. Like the corporate interests would be like, respected, and
And you lose little by little type
you
deal.
lose freedoms little by little. And they can do it now. Like, listen, Israel invented the technology. You can spy on people. Like, China loves it. They're implementing it. They're improving on it. Like, it's another thing that, the
Well,
Jews kind of,
it's kind of like New Zealand.
like,
Did you hear about their smoking law that they're going to do? Where they're going to like slowly make the legal age older and older throughout the generations.
really?
Yeah, so eventually it'll be only old people that could smoke, but by then they'll all be that generation will be gone. And then they'll eventually just make it illegal.
Isn't New Zealand on fire or something? The Solomon Islands. Okay, New Zealand.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much. They're in turmoil.
I agree with people should move away from cigarettes. The only options should be e-cigarettes, e-devices, and those gummy, like not the gummies, the gum, Nicorette. Like you can't be smoking something that's 800 degrees and that has so many more chemicals than a device that's burning nicotine at 200, 300 degrees. Like I think that's good.
Yeah. I'm not.
As
I
a
think
Jew, I approve of that.
I'm not against. Yeah, I'm not against making cigarettes illegal. I think they're horrible.
Right.
I wouldn't be against that, but
right. But you
it's
see
the idea of just slowly implementing
control,
something. Yeah.
slowly taking control, and that's New Zealand is not a free country. Take it off the list of free countries. New Zealand is no longer a free country. And I'm looking here. Yeah, they have. New Zealand has a methamphetamine problem. 1 second. That's nothing. I mean, in New Zealand, when people start doing meth, and you see it in the lower class white communities and the rural Hispanics and getting into the suburbs, and now it's like significantly destroying black communities. Now it's burning through them, and it's because there's so much despair among those groups, the people that feel like the white people, because they're deplorable rednecks in the middle of nowhere that don't deserve a chance. Colleges don't even come out to recruit there, even though they have the scores, because why bother? You can get for every one person you can get in a rural area, you can go to a city center or a big high school and get like 100 or 200 students.
Right.
Because there's a population. I mean, and then with black people, the problem with their living is that they are basically in a ghetto. They are basically in an area where they cannot move up. They can only stay where they are. They have to pray to God. They have to go to black church and pray to black Jesus for their shot at I don't know, podcast, a performance, a music gig,
sports. Yeah.
I mean, how many recording studios do these guys have in their home? They're all trying to do the same thing, and they're all trying to be Charlemagne the God, and it's just they just don't have it. They don't have the gift of gab like you and I do, and they don't have they don't have our element, Crishaun. They don't like. I don't think anybody has it.
Let's just come
I don't
out and
think-
say it. Let's just
I
come out
don't
and say
think like. Okay.
they don't have the star power and the quality of personality that gentlemen like us have.
Yeah,
Kind of the same
and I mean,
ilk.
I'm a 5-star general. I'm General Chow
General
of General Chow of the General Chow Chicken Army. I'm a 4-star general. Like, can they claim such lofty accomplishments?
Yeah,
Can anyone? I don't know.
not at all. I mean, I could be famous tomorrow. I just choose not to be.
I mean, you could have been famous a long time ago.
Yeah,
You could have been famous a long time ago.
I'm afraid of success. That's my problem.
You're afraid? No, you just.
It's on my terms.
You just needed me to kick your ass, to give you a little kick in the ass.
Here we go.
You already had the self-starting. You were already self-starting, which is why I targeted you. I cultivated this relationship.
Were you watching me watching CNN, and then
dude. I used to watch you, and I was like, this guy is self-starting. Like he's just missing a few things, but this show is something. Like this Misfit Nation thing is something that I like, and that there's no other white guy there, so I can just push myself in as the white guy, and then eventually push you out when it gets to be successful.
Got you. Okay.
that's smart.
Right?
You know what I'm gonna do? While you're doing that, I'm gonna do that to somebody else. That way, I could just jump right on there.
Right, or we could just be like a team, like that guy from NWA and his Jewish manager. We can
yes, easy.
You can be my front, and I could just just take the money out the back door.
We just whore talent.
Make them sign terrible contracts.
Right.
Write them up.
Like
we get merchandising rights. We get royalties on all sales up to $20 million.
Yeah,
even though we know it'll never make anywhere close to $20 million, but we just want to keep being a parasite that continues to take
worse than Diddy.
I want to be the baddest one out. I want to be the guy who shot what's his name, Biggie. I want to be that big, but I don't want to get caught. Now, I don't want to have the reputation of someone that is bullying people. I just want people to think of me as like Jussie
really
Smollett,
nice, like a nice guy,
as some person that is a high society, like Jussie Smollett thought,
like Jimmy Iovine.
Huh?
Like Jimmy Iovine.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
But I have the ability. I'm in high society, but I have the ability to commit my crimes through a variety of LLCs and corporate shell companies, PO boxes, and foreign investment firms. Kind of like Hunter Biden. Like Joe Biden is my hero in that way. If you think about it, he's kind of a hero to guys like Bernie Madoff and every scale. Like he is literally in politics, and he literally has an investment firm and a joint account with his son, who is a 5% owner of that investment firm. I mean, could I come up with something like that awesome to use my political influence for monetary gain?
It takes some working.
I mean, it's a long game. This guy went to law school to go into politics. He wanted to be a criminal defense attorney, but said, "Nah, there's too much money to be made in politics and skimming off taxpayer." Like, because there literally is way too much money to be made. Like the infrastructure bill. We're gonna take down racist highways and build other highways.
Highways, yeah. The the low pass.
So not only is a road being lost and like the economy damaged by that, but this next road you're going to build, but you get to build a next road that's going to cost an absurd amount of money. And you see these guys down in Florida, like you got 10 guys waving flags for traffic and one guy drilling.
Yeah, yeah.
And some guy watching the drilling, and then some mafia
Like the
guys.
95. They've been doing construction on that since I was 8.
Dude, these roads like main road like State Road 7 is like a former highway that's now like a very traveled, kind of suburban road. That like since I got here, they have not stopped construction. They have these huge frigging like potholes that are developing in other parts of this highway, and they're still working on this area. Like they've been working on this area for like 2 years, the same area for 2 years.
Right. It's all subcontracted.
Right. I mean, the construction game is a government construction game is a boondoggle. You need to be politically connected, or you need to be, you need to be a part of the right causes.
Right.
Like the mafia. You want to be in good, wholesome, like gangs, like the mafia or, the Crips. You got to keep those union workers in line, right?
Right.
Like you got to kick the
Teamsters.
shit out of Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, like there was a Bernie Sanders in Germany, pre-Hitler Germany, and they just kicked the shit out of him, like kicked him aside. That's what you got to do to social. Like that's what like the corporate Democrats do to socialists. They just kick them aside. They just like pile up on them. Make sure they don't come up for air.
They try to keep they try to still keep the socialist stigma though, because they know it looks good for their side. But
yeah,
really
they keep that element. They'll bring Antifa and BLM out of their pocket when the opposing party is in office.
Right.
But when it's them, they don't want people to have visuals of the chaos that they are creating.
Well, it's like that term we use, business as usual. It's like just keep everything status quo. Yeah, we'll pretend to be socialists and we want to give you this and that, but really we're
right.
We're the corporate ones. All right, yeah, let's
that's it. Yeah, we got no one now.
Let's wrap it up. I'm tired of you.
Did anyone like or well, we got some likes. Did we get subscribers?
We had a few people in and out. At one point we had I think 6 or 7 at the most.
The most was 7.
7? Yeah.
But they were new people then like did anyone subscribe? Oh, one's watching right now. Hey buddy, what you watching?
I'm a little behind. I don't have anybody.
You're
Later
our only viewer.
Holmes. Later
talk to
Holmes. Any other Barry Manilow fans gathered here tonight? Is he being a troll?
I don't think that's the person watching right now. There's one person watching. I wonder.
Who is it?
It's me.
Oh, look at you.
No, let me see. Let me see if it's
lonely.
me or not. No, it's not me.
Are you a Barry Manilow fan?
No. When did Barry Manilow come into? Oh, you know what we need?
I'm reading a comment. Be a professional for 1 second.
I have no idea where that came in.
All right, listen to me. A commenter said his name is Later Holmes. Any other Barry Manilow fans gathered here tonight? I think he's trolling.
Yeah, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Like, I saw it. I didn't address it because it's like, I don't care about Barry Manilow. I'm not like, not every white person cares about Barry Manilow.
Oh, is that the joke?
I guess so.
Got you. Sorry, some white jokes don't register with me.
I think that's a white joke. Barry Manilow is like the soft
It's the whitest
Soft-chewed.
thing you can be into. It's like when Carlton from The Fresh Prince, he would say he was in a Barry Manilow to act like he was really white. Get it?
Oh,
Get
he
it?
sung "Could It Be Magic" in a young girl's heart. Is that what she sung? Like, I don't know. No, not everybody.
No.
Not everybody likes Barry
Do you
Manilow.
believe in magic?
That is a hurtful stereotype that does great damage to the white community, and I would have you cease and desist.
Oh,
I want an
oh,
apology.
heavy.
Oh, you know what? For the next show, we got to get into the list of Chinese spy cases.
Oh yeah, we'll actually have some topics together.
That's
We
on the
actually just
agenda.
came on to talk about Jussie.
Now, when this is uploaded, like, is this uploaded right away to the channel?
Yeah.
Oh, great, perfect. So
There's no editing.
I can send this to more people who want to hear about my opinions of the juice maker.
Yeah,
juice
you
maker
could
Smollett.
You could send it to those two people.
Oh no, I mean they'll like I have a friend who's gonna send it to a bunch of people in his
Oh, no,
office.
I'm messing with you.
He was one of the people that was watching.
Oh, look at that!
But
shout out to him. Thank you.
He started. No, he's not here. He's starting to play. He started playing video games.
When he goes, are you gonna go play some video games with your buddies?
What time is it? Yeah, it's still midnight.
Night's still young.
Let me see what the stock market's doing. Okay, let's go into my my procedures. Okay. Oil down, natural gas up a little bit, gold up, U.S. soybeans up, food is up.
So what's your stock advice before we get off here?
Okay. I got
Make it quick.
Now is a good time. One second. Because I have lists. Okay, so a good stock right now. Let me see. Okay, there's this crypto company. It's the initials are MKD. They've hit their bottom. They've hit their low, and now the chart shows that they have a what's it called? They're was this a golden cross? No.
Got some bear market action going.
Basically, what you do is you look at the damn, I don't know, 20-day, and then the 50-day and the 200-day average and the 20-day average, and oh man, never mind. I can't give stock advice. I mean, like I know it in my head,
question, right?
Because it was taught to me by someone that's very good at it. But this stock is at 26 cents. This is going to 55 cents soon. I mean, maybe to $1. I mean, there are now 55 penny stocks that are under 55 cents. Like MKD's 33 cents is the 50-day. And what usually happens with these 33 cents in the 50-day is that they blow up to 50 cent, the 50 cent area. So 26 cents, everybody has the money for that. You could double your money in the next few weeks on that. 25 cents.
You said MKD?
MKD.
Michael,
Kyrie, and Drama.
Is that what that stands for?
No, it's I don't know the name of the company. I just look at the chart and the reports. Okay, so there's a
MKB. What are you talking about?
Huh?
There's nothing coming up for MKB.
MKD. D like in David.
Then not even that either.
M like in Michael. K like in Kiss.
I heard you.
MKD.
Not coming up.
There's no way this went to MKD, Molecular Data Inc.
Maybe it's on. Oh, is it on Coinbase?
No.
Oh, see.
You can get it on. You want a crypto?
Oh, I thought you said it was crypto.
They do a lot of crypto. They buy a lot of crypto stocks. They do mining. They do a whole sort of like they're basically a social like a computer data mining company. I mean, they got their hands in a lot of different things.
Oh, so it's not coin. It's not actual coin. It's just
No.
It's a stock.
Honestly, listen. I mean, there was a time where I wanted to be in cryptos like that, but like this just seems like a Ponzi scheme that I've seen, that I've read about over and over and over again. Private control of money, of like a currency.
But how is that?
Like how is that different than when in like the tulip thing and the like the Southeast Sea Company, where they were just giving out these like paper stocks to people, and people were treating them like money and trading them for other goods, and like it was totally inflated. Like it's not. This is not sustainable. Like
how are they taxing cryptocurrency now? Like, isn't that kind of the point of having it?
I believe they will tax people on the increases and not the unearned gains. Like they'll tax people on unearned gains, which is not exactly constitutional. Like it's kind of like Bernie Sanders, wanting to tax wealth, like stocks,
Just wealth, because you
and
have
homes.
more.
Your home stock value and whatever the total value of that, you have to pay a percentage. That's fucking insane. Why?
Right.
Because in order to pay for those taxes, you have to sell assets. And if everyone is selling the assets, it devalues the asset classes, and the total value that your taxes are based on are like rapidly being devalued, and you can't really afford those taxes without offloading a significant amount of assets.
Mm.
See what I'm saying? Like if you like a stock, if you had 1 million shares of a stock, and that million shares was worth 10 million, and the government was like, well, you have to pay, you made you started out with 1 million and you made 10 million from these stocks, and we're going to tax you at, let's say, 50%. Okay. Well, you don't have 50% in your bank account. They're tied up in the stock. And when everybody starts offloading that stock, it's going to crash. And it could crash, easily 50%. And then you paid taxes that is equal to the current value of the stocks, even though your taxes were based on a higher evaluation. Get what I'm saying? Like, it's just not that. It's the reason why that's in the Constitution, that you like the government can't charge you a wealth tax. Like they can't, like the government can't charge, like the federal government can't charge a property tax, right? Only the states can, because the states can tax the wealth, and the federal government can't. They can tax income, like in transactions. They can like if you make a transaction in the stock market, you sell your cryptocurrency. That's how it is right now. Like you have to pay taxes on the money that you made from the sale.
Just because it's a transaction of money.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, a property, like if you're a homeowner, you can like, and it's a homestead, you can take that money, and if you buy a house for more money, if you sell your house for a higher price and you put that amount into the next house, you don't have to pay the taxes on your profit. I don't believe. It can go to your next homestead. Let me look that up to see if that's correct. You can.
Yeah, look that up. I'm gonna start wrapping it up. There's nobody even in here, but for anybody that's watching this later, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Is there really no one in here? Are we the only ones? No, we're here.
We're here.
All right.
That's important. We count.
Hi, y'all.
We matter. I thought you were looking up something.
Oh, you want me to look it up? I mean, I'm not like let's save it. We got so
All
much.
right, we'll save it. We'll
We
save
got
it.
so much. We got so much.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We could come on here some nights and just hang out. Doesn't have to be anything, you know.
Literally, we don't even have to do this. Like now that we got this whole setup, we don't even have to do this together all the time. We can do our own shows and then do this. Like this would be the main thing, and then we'll all do our own shows.
Like we don't even have to interact anymore.
Like we'll hire a college slave intern, and we'll have them interns. That's how you got to do it. That's how you get around slavery laws.
Internships.
Yes. Unpaid.
I want to get interns.
That's how we do it. That's how we get liberals on the show. We get liberals on the show by going to college campuses, and we just find some brainless morons. And I'll play off like the show is like going to be kind to him, and like I'll play off the lefty side because I know that makes you feel icky. We just go there and we'd be like, "Does anyone want to be on a podcast?"
Well, it's not that it makes me feel icky. I just burst into flames.
Oh, dude, I'll deceive them. I'll get them on the show.
Please. Oh, I love that plan.
That's how we do it, man. Like, I don't have to be going chasing down Rittenhouse and his family. Like, that was a hard task.
I think you just creep them out a little bit.
Listen, anyone who listens to this man wanted me to get Rittenhouse on the show.
Hold on.
On a show that, like the most we could have hoped for is like 100, and we didn't even get 10.
The most we could have hoped for was a hard fuck you.
Oh, I received a hard fuck. I'm not getting into it, but I received a hard FU because I can contact anybody.
Well, you fouled it up.
I can get to their because I can't, dude. I'm not gonna call somebody's home who like I'm not like. Could I get that information? Sure. Could I get his cousins, his brothers, his sisters? like, sure.
No, I don't want you to do that.
I have to get to him somehow. What? I'm gonna be like a dummy, the 1,000th, like 100,000th dummy that just like it just messages him on Facebook. Like, no, like.
Oh, I see. You were trying to go a different route.
I go different. Like you gave it that was an impossible goddamn task. And
you're right.
I did my best. I got close.
You did way more than I expected.
I got close.
Way more. I appreciate you, David. That's why when I thought about who could be the man for that job, I thought of you right away.
Damn, you want like I can get like I was talking to a guy from Trafalgar to talk about their Nevada poll because Nevada Republicans are up 47-40 in the governor race. And I wanted to get someone on, and they said it's possible. I got emails, and we were talking and everything, and it's like,
fuck that. I want LeBron. You get LeBron on this show.
Can we get someone to do impressions of? Can someone do impressions of LeBron?
I want to give him a piece of my mind.
Or we call him like LaQueen, LaCry.
I'll call him.
Oh, right. I had a whole thing on the various names of LeBron James.
Can we do it? Oh, we gotta do it another time.
Dude, we're still talking. I don't like.
Fuck. What is that?
Go ahead. I'm not even saying this for the show. 1 second. Tactic. Oh, God damn it. This is my. Oh, do you think it's under Misfit Podcast? This isn't even the Misfit Podcast.
No, it's.
Why not? That's how you like. That's the bigger audience.
I told you the plan for that.
I didn't listen.
Jesus Christ!
I was so worried about my plan that I completely
You were hiding.
Neglected your plan. I neglected to listen to your opinions, and then I went ahead and just.
It's fine because I actually had to test all this stuff out, so it worked out. So I'll be.
Dude, I actually want the information so I can do my own thing on here. Like I want to do my own podcast, but like I could do it from my channel, but I gotta wait 24 hours.
I told you I'll set you up.
I wanted you to do your own show.
Yeah, just
now we're talking about stuff that we shouldn't be talking on live.
Do you trust me with passwords?
With passwords?
Dude, did I put my credit card on one of your things? Yeah, I trust you.
I don't think
no, I
did.
didn't.
No.
Oh,
We'll talk about this off air.
My credit card number is.
What's your address? All right. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, go fuck yourselves, all of you.
Yeah, fuck off.
All two of you. Get out of here.
All right.
Yeah.
And then, hold on.